you Google how to build a startup online, one of the most common pieces of advice is to get a co-founder. But do you actually need one? Well, the data says you can build a successful startup with or without a co-founder, but here are 5 reasons why you might want to consider adding one. First is complementary skills. Unless you've built a successful startup from idea all the way to sale, it's likely that you have some skill gaps in your own experience. You may be good at sales, but you don't know how to hire engineers. Or you're a really good programmer, but again, you don't know how to do sales. Adding a co-founder can round out the skills at your startup early on and give you a better chance of succeeding. One of the things that kills a lot of startups is just the fact that they don't have enough sales experience or enough technical experience, and so they stutter along the early steps. By having complementary skills, you can really increase your chances of success. But what I don't recommend is having 2 people with the exact same skill set. So 2 programmers or 2 salespeople. You want to have complementary skills that de-risk the startup. The second reason you should probably get a co-founder is credibility. Again, if you've never built anything, early on you're trying to pitch investors, you're trying to pitch early team members, and get early customers. The reality is, if you're a solo shop, just one guy or one gal working on an idea, people are going to be unlikely to trust their business with the product or service you're offering. What if you get hit by a bus? What if you change your mind? You don't have the credibility that a team provides. And if you just contrast that to saying, we're a small team, this is me, this is my co-founder, you immediately have a leg up on credibility, and it will make it much easier to get early customers and early investors. Third reason you might want a co-founder is a pretty simple one. It's kind of free labor. And I don't mean free in the sense that you should not pay them or compensate them in any way. What you'll probably end up doing is giving them some equity in the business, and eventually you'll both take minimal salaries, or all of your co-founders will have a minimal salary. But the early stage is a grind. And again, chances are you don't have enough money to hire a team. You don't have the resources to really build something. And so free labor matters a lot. Early on, it's super helpful to have someone on your team that's basically working for next to nothing, and of course has a big payout if this thing succeeds. So getting a co-founder is sort of a free labor hack in a way. Fourth is accountability. And the reality is, being an entrepreneur sucks most days. There are really high highs, but there are also really low lows. And one thing that can happen is if you don't have external pressure to keep the startup going, when you have those really low lows, it can be easy to throw in the towel. If you have a co-founder or multiple co-founders, what can happen is you may feel like giving up, but you don't want to let your co-founders down who put in those hours, believed in you, and vice versa. So you help balance each other out. It's unlikely that you're both going to want to give up on the same day and that you want to give up on each other. So when you're feeling down and when you want to give up, your co-founder helps lift you up and vice versa. And so having this accountability partner that you don't want to give up on and vice versa is one of the most important things to help you keep going in the early stages when it's really a grind and not that fun. And the 5th reason you should consider adding a co-founder is it helps you attract capital. As I mentioned earlier, the credibility of a team is much stronger than an individual founder. And so when you're going out to pitch investors and pitch angel investors and VCs, they will be looking for a strong team. And again, because you have different skill sets that de-risk the business, it makes your overall pitch much stronger. So if you're thinking about raising venture capital, it can be really helpful to have a co-founder on your team with complementary skill sets. That's going to be much more interesting to investors than a solo founder. Ultimately, the decision to go solo founder or co-founder is a personal decision. Only you can decide. I've done it both ways for the last 15 years. I've built a couple businesses with co-founders and a couple sort of being a solo founder. There's no right or wrong reason, but again, there are some real strong benefits to having a co-founder. Anyways, hope this video was helpful. If you like videos like this, consider subscribing. I make videos like this every week to help founders like yourself get their business up and running.